For more, let's bring in White House border czar Tom Homan. Sir, it's great to see you. First off, I have to thank you for being a real American who thinks that the government should actually obey the laws like the rest of our people are expected to. And you just heard Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett argue that Americans' struggles with affording housing and food is not because of profligate, irresponsible, and stupid congressional overspending, but it's because you and President Trump have been deporting Tren de Aragua and MS-13 cutthroats and have stopped the lion's share of massive illegal immigration. Your response, sir?
Well, it seems like every time Crockett opens his mouth, she shows just how not smart she is. I mean, she knows nothing about this because we have been concentrating on public safety threats and national security threats. And let me be clear, I've done this since 1984. I started on board since 1984. No one hires an illegal alien out of the goodness of their heart. They hire them because they work them harder, pay them less, and undercut their competition that has U.S. citizen employees. They drive down wages for the American worker. So President Trump's America first. We're going to protect the American worker. We're going to enforce the law. If she doesn't like it, she's a member of Congress, change the law. We're not making this up. We're enforcing laws enacted by Congress and signed by a president. Unlike the last administration who didn't enforce law and actually violated the law, we're enforcing law without apology. And we're going to continue to do exactly that.
Right on, right on. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court ordering the White House to return an illegal alien that has already been deported to El Salvador. The court writing, quote, the order properly requires the government to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador and to ensure that his case is handled as it would have been had he not been improperly sent to El Salvador, end of quote. Well, here's a guy, from our research, he broke into America in 2011. He was granted a court order to stay pending an asylum hearing in 2019. And if his case is finally heard, if it's ever heard, like over 90% of these cases, odds are the asylum claim will be found to be invalid. Complete abuse of our system, sir, as you know. Who's to blame here in your view? Congress for writing such a stupid law that promotes illegal immigration, or the Supreme Court's interpretation?
The alien is to blame. The alien enters this country legally, which is a crime. He's the MS-13 gang member according to our intelligence and even that of the intelligence of El Salvador. He was given withholding and removal from El Salvador because of fear of gang violence. Let's be clear. President Bukele has changed the whole face of El Salvador. He's attacked gang violence there. The country is much, much safer than it was when the court made this ruling. So listen, the Supreme Court say we'll facilitate. We'll facilitate. However, we got to remember, he's an El Salvadoran national in custody of the El Salvadoran government. So, you know, we'll facilitate what we can, but I think we made the right decision.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, ICE has made more than 32,000 arrests since President Trump took office. And there's been scant reporting about these self-deportations we hear are happening. We had an estimated 15 million mostly unvetted illegal aliens break into our country, Mr. Homan, under Joe Biden's watch. How much longer before we start seeing a dent in that huge, massive, lawless number of estimated 15 million illegal aliens?
Well, look, I looked at the numbers this morning. That number's wrong. Whatever number you were provided, and I apologize for that. I looked at the numbers this morning. We're just under 57,000 arrests in the interior United States by ICE. They've arrested more criminal aliens in the first 2 months of the Trump administration than Biden did all year. So interior enforcement arrests are going good. But I've been honest from day one. Am I happy with the numbers? Yeah. Am I satisfied with the numbers? No. We got to do a lot more. We got more target lists out there. We got to get more officers on the streets. But here's the problem. Plus, we're fighting sanctuary cities that are less efficient. Rather than arresting one agent, arrest a bad guy in a jail, now we got to go to communities, send a whole team to look for him because of officer safety concerns, to look for somebody that don't want to be found. So sanctuary cities are slowing down the efficiency of the process. But here's the problem. We need Congress to fund this thing. The American people have spoken. They gave President Trump a mandate. He won the popular vote. Immigration enforcement, border security, the #1 issue. American people have made that, have sounded out loud that they want this done. The majority of Americans want this deportation operation to happen. Congress needs the fund to do that. We have a limited number of beds. Everybody we arrest and deport has to have a bed. Then we got to have a plane to remove them. Then we need overtime for officers working 24/7 across this country, targeting and arresting these public safety threats. We need money. I looked at this morning, I think we got 1,500 empty beds in the entire country. We can fill those in 2 days. So we need more beds. We need airplane flights. We need more contractor money so we can contract out the work that doesn't require a badge and gun. A badge and gun shouldn't be sitting at a desk doing call-ins, doing processing, doing things that can easily be done by a non-law enforcement officer. We got to have these contracts in place so every badge and gun with Title 8 authorities on the street looking for these criminal aliens. So we need Congress to give us the budget that we've been begging for since day one of the Trump administration. And I think we're going to be close. I hope we're close, but more money we have, the more successful we're going to be, and the more deportations we're going to create.
Mr. Homan, this is just my personal opinion. I believe that both political parties, Republicans and Democrats, over the last half century, they have facilitated illegal immigration into this country with the aforementioned stupid laws and looking the other way. I mean, I'll point to the last 4 years of the Biden regime, and they brought in 15 million unvetted, mostly illegal aliens in this country, and the Republican Party did nothing to stop it. As a matter of fact, they voted for every bit of funding for that illegal prospect. So in my opinion, the Congress of the United States and the government of the United States has been at odds with the vast majority of Americans. Would you just address for the America Last coalition out there the idea that they seem to think that illegal aliens have some sort of right to be in the United States, but isn't it a fact that no illegal alien has the right to be on American soil?
Well, let me one-up you first, because under the Trump 45, just like now, we had the House and the Senate, and they did nothing to help President Trump. I mean, he had to beg and steal and move money around to start building the wall. I was hoping they learned their lesson after Trump 45 and the success he had on the border, but all the successes go to President Trump and executive orders. Now we have the House and Senate again. I don't want to see a replay. Every Republican on the Hill needs to help President Trump get done with American people want to get done and what the President Trump has promised American people to get done. Time for games are over. Every Republican on the Hill should be on board with us. There shouldn't be an inch of daylight between us. But look, bottom line is, where were all the left? The last 4 years is exactly right. We had a 600% increase in sex trafficking. We had over 4,000 aliens dying making this journey. We had 250,000 Americans die from fentanyl coming across that border. We had over 400 people on terrorist watches come through the southern border. An historic number. The criminal cartels making billions of dollars. Sex trafficking disgusting. The numbers are 600%. I mentioned that before. But look, and where was all the anger in the action? But now the Democrats are more concerned about us vetting the deportations than they were concerned about vetting the millions the Biden administration allowed in here. The Biden administration, how quick can we process? How quick can we release? Because if there's no overcrowding, we can keep saying nothing to see here, border secure. So where were all these people then? But now they're shouting at the Trump administration for concentrating on public safety threats and national security threats. They want planes turned around full of terrorists to come back to this country. It's disgusting. It's sickening. I've never seen anything like this in my 40 years of doing this job.
I'm so with you. I've only got about 30 seconds, sir, and I really want to get to this last question. As you know, the Democrats facilitated the release of illegal alien children, about 320,000 of them, to forced labor and to sex trafficking into the United States. Have you been able to try to find some of these sexually exploited children and labor exploited children the Democrats allowed to be delivered into terrible hands?
Yeah, we found some. We got many more to find. But here's the problem: you and I have a footprint. We own a home. We own a car. We pay bills. We can find you and me. But the last administration didn't properly vet the sponsors, which means many weren't fingerprinted, and the identification they showed, they weren't validated. So now we got to count on the footprint of the sponsors, and we don't have valid information on that. So it's going to be difficult. But President Trump's committed. We're going to find every missing child that we can. We're not going to give up until we find all of them.
Amen, sir. So proud of you and the work you're doing, sir. Tom Homan, everybody, the border czar of the United States. Thank you, sir. You know, folks, I thank God for my wonderful wife, my kids, my country, the greatest nation ever. And Americans like you who believe in the truth, the Chris Salcedo Show will never stop fighting for you.
The Chris Salcedo Show, for the news you need to know.